After 10 years, a beta build of LittleBigPlanet Hub, the notorious free-to-play LBP game that got cancelled in 2013, has just officially been found and preserved online, meaning that you could play the game's beta right now on a modded PS3 or PS3 emulator. This is probably the biggest thing that's ever happened in the LittleBigPlanet preservation scene, and I'm very excited to finally see this game in a playable state for the very first time. Before I show off the game itself, I have to give a massive thanks to both LittleBig Russia and Cancerius, as both of them were very important to archiving this build properly for the entire LBP community to enjoy. I'll leave a link to both of their YouTube channels in the description down below so that you can check them out. Now we can finally see a glimpse of what Sumo Digital was cooking before LittleBigPlanet 3 kind of took over and got Hub cancelled. As soon as you boot up the game's beta, you're greeted with Hub's introduction level, which is pretty much the only unique level in this build of the game. If you've played the Seaside Surprise level kit in LittleBigPlanet 3, this should be very familiar to you, as a lot of assets, as well as many of the level's motifs from this intro, were ultimately repurposed for that LBP3 DLC pack. You'll also notice that the background itself is very similar to the cut Seaside theme from LittleBigPlanet 1. Moving on to what's new, this level introduces you to challenges, which is one of Hub's main defining features. When you reach the glowing checkpoint in the introduction and press triangle, you'll be prompted to either play a challenge or create your own. The example challenge given in Hub's intro involves you racing a developer's ghost from one checkpoint to the other. The developer's ghost data is represented by a sticker panel of a literal ghost, which looks pretty odd and out of place, I'll be honest. I assume they were going to use Sackbots in the final game, because why wouldn't they? But maybe they just couldn't get it to work properly in time for the beta. Creating a challenge is where things get a bit interesting. Pressing the create option from the glowing checkpoint will start recording your Sackboy's movement and stats up until the next checkpoint. These stats include fastest time, highest score, biggest multiplier, lives lost, and prize bubbles collected. From there, you can pick one of those 5 options to set as a challenge and publish it for other people to try and beat. Additionally, you can set the name of your challenge to whatever you want, and pick a challenge duration between 3, 5, or 7 days long. I'll talk a bit more about challenges in a little bit though. After finishing the LBP Hub intro level, you'll be sent to your pod for the first time, and yeah, it looks pretty much identical to LBP2's pod, which is a bit disappointing, but kind of expected. The pod background and pod music are the exact same as LBP2, but things change a bit when it comes to the pod UI. On the left side, there's an entirely new menu option for the DLC store, and it's made to look like a cardboard television. You can't access this store offline, however, when using custom servers, you can clearly see that this is in fact the LittleBigPlanet 3 store. We've always kind of assumed it was the same, but yeah, official confirmation, Sumo reused the Hub store for 3, who could have guessed. Next to the store though, is a new planet dedicated to playing challenges, the Challenges planet. Once again, you can't access this normally since the servers are offline, but with custom servers, you have the option to play both developer-made challenges or player-made challenges. The developer challenges seem to just pull from the mini-games in LBP1 and LBP2, while the player-made challenges are from you and your friends. Going back to the pod menu options, Play Mode obviously features Story Mode and Community levels. Like originally advertised, the story in this game is literally just LBP1 and LBP2 story modes combined, along with every single DLC level kit. That being said, you could only really access the gardens from LBP1 and Da Vinci's hideout from LBP2. This isn't necessarily due to it being a beta, but more so the assets for the other story worlds aren't actually in the game by default and need to be downloaded through the game's Downloadinator feature. We still don't really know what this is or how it works exactly, but I can only imagine it tries to pull from a server that is non-existent to download content for the game. The Downloadinator is also used for DLC story worlds and costume packs. With this being a live service game, I guess they really wanted to utilize a feature that can download content to your game without actually having to patch it in. In theory, this sounds fine, especially since today's live service games can achieve this pretty easily, but in 2013 on the PS3, I don't think they were quite there yet. But I'm sure with modding the game and whatnot, you could definitely get around all this downloadinator nonsense. Outside of that, all that's really left to talk about is create mode. And there isn't much to talk about. It's the exact same as LBP 2. There's no new logic, there's nothing missing. It's just the same. Which again, we should have expected this from the very beginning since it was announced. Now, content-wise, LittleBigPlanet Hub obviously isn't as exciting compared to content seen in some of the other LBP builds that have been recovered over the years. This was never going to be a LittleBigPlanet game filled with lost content we've never seen before. Hub was always supposed to be a repurposed LittleBigPlanet 2. That being said, it is still a cancelled LBP game, and that fact alone is pretty damn cool. I do think people will enjoy messing around with LBP Hub's beta now that it's out there. I think there's a lot of potential with modding especially. But if you want to download and try the game for yourself, I'll link the Imagisphere Wiki's prototype section down below. That's all for now though. If anything cool happens with Hub in the next few days, I'll be sure to make another video. I haven't been too excited to talk about LittleBigPlanet recently, but this definitely piqued my interest. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.